Beetlejuice.
The juice is loose.
I want to take a stab in the dark at the last 0 hour that we did.
Oh gee, it's been a minute.
It's been 8 months.
Wow.
Take a shot in the dark what the last one we did was.
8 months.
I'll give you a hint. Lord of the Rings.
Oh. That long.
That's
yeah.
only if you remember the jokes we made about this said film involving that series.
It's still not coming to me, but go ahead.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Okay, yeah, now I remember. So we're back to Warner Brothers.
Back to Warner Brothers with a movie that they were more okay with putting out. I like how I literally rented and watched Beetlejuice again. Or I went to the theater. Michael Keaton went from the and starring to the first credit.
And he still has about as much screen time.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega and him switched. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that if you would have gave me a billion guesses, I couldn't have told you what the plot of this film was when they said they were doing a new one.
Yeah, they throw in a lot of stuff in this movie.
Yeah, and like, what was the interview I was watching where they talked about the original idea was Beetlejuice goes to Hawaii?
Yeah, I've heard that one. That's been an idea that's been floating around at least as far back as like the early 90s.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people say that this movie existed just to be fun to watch. And I'd have to say I agree with that. This is one of the most ridiculous movies I have watched in quite some time.
Same. It's been a while since we had just a pure comedy hit in theaters. And I think audiences are starving for that kind of just zany, off the wall, big screen experience.
They are, and they got it in spades with this. Who is the actor that played the Deets father? The douchebag.
Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones. I was seeing in interviews and like people reviewing the movie that it was hilarious how they did him so bad because like for those that don't know he's a piece of shit, and it's like, oh, he died in the car crash in a plane crash. Oh, his worst fear is like, oh, he didn't drown. He's like, no, he survived. He got up on the wing, and then what happened? And then a shark ate. Like how also to like not give this guy any credit, they have it be like a claymation, whatever that plane thing was, and then when he's in the underworld, they have the top half of him bitten off so that you never see his face.
It's perfect.
And he's somehow talking out of the chunk of his spinal cord.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie like treat a character written off this mean, but it's all justified too.
It was just like, I was halfway expecting, no, the shark bit his legs off, and then birds ate him to death. I was like, okay, where's the trifecta? We're getting for something here. don't know. This is a very different... It's different and it's not. This is not quite the Top Gun to Top Gun Maverick levels of differences, but it's probably been 5 years since I watched the original Beetlejuice when I just watched it earlier today. That movie has almost no plot in it. None.
Yeah, it really is just, oh, these new people are in our home. We want them to leave. And Beetlejuice comes in.
Yeah, it's a smooth hour and a half, and that movie flies by. Like, you do not notice that he's in there for sub 20 minutes, because almost nothing happens in that entire film. And I didn't realize that again until I just watched it. I think the only part of this film that felt off in certain parts, this movie had an actual, like, plot. And it's not a bad thing. I was just, like, that's why it feels different. Because there was more than just the actual, well, I'm gonna come and haunt the house. Like, just, like, some stuff actually happens. But they're also not to be like, we're not going to make this a serious movie that has, like, stakes. Because this is still Beetlejuice. You still have Willem Dafoe with his head half blown off from a grenade being a fake cop that was an actor.
By the way, how weird is it that this is the first time that Willem Dafoe has worked with Tim Burton?
How? He's the most Tim Burton actor that has never worked with him up until this point. Like I understand, he wanted to make 15 films with Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp. If those two didn't work anymore, he probably would have happened sooner. But, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird how it took this long. Like, I'm kind of shocked he wasn't in the first one.
Right?
Because I'm not saying that he's an ugly person, but, like, he gives off the overall aura and look of someone that belonged in that original Beetlejuice movie.
I see what you mean.
He's never not going to be in a movie where he doesn't get to play a weird person.
He just has that aura, and it works for him.
Absolutely. Like, I love him to death. He, if I'm not mistaken, is either from or went to college in Appleton, here in Wisconsin. They also had the callers coming in from Wisconsin. That made me really happy. Wisconsin's not a state that gets mentioned a whole lot in movies, so the few times that I get to hear it, it really makes my day.
Nice.
Like, the most out-of-control one was in an episode of Supernatural. There is a town not far from me called Stetsonville. It's unincorporated. It maybe has 100 people in it. Maybe. And it's the setting for an episode in Supernatural. They shoot all of Supernatural in Canada and then fakely set it in towns in the US. That blew my mind. And then every time I'm like, someone's like, you should watch Supernatural. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a month. Did you know that, yes, I'm the one that told you to watch the show? Yes. I know. But, yeah, it... Anyway, this, again, it doesn't feel like he's only in this movie for as little as he is.
That's because he just has such a huge presence to him that is kind of one of Lydia's subplots, is that she's still haunted by his presence from all those years ago.
Yeah, and they play, and I like that they made it more of a, they just didn't forget that she could see spirits kind of thing, and having her being a person that can communicate with the dead is a pretty cool touch, because like, her being normal after that would be kind of a stretch. Like, I didn't know what to make out of the of the family taking care of her afterwards, like taking care of the house and whatever, and she does her science homework, so she got to dance with the football team. And like her parents are just okay with it. So, okay, there's no way you have a normal upbringing.
No.
And then the thing that takes her out of it is her husband passing away. I wasn't expecting to see the husband either. That was kind of a cool touch. It was just the import and immigration guy. That was kind of cool. And getting to see Astrid, to see Spirits 2, that was a cool little twist touch where the guy who she was going after was a ghost. That was a good little touch. That genuinely got me. I didn't see that coming whatsoever. I thought that it was weird how frozen in time that house was.
That is a lot of clever foreshadowing.
Yes, absolutely. And that was one of the things where I was just, wow, okay, that's funky, but, you know, I get it. Again, from Wisconsin, there's some of those towns you're just going to run into that just exist as if it was still that time. And they just don't update whatever. Like, that was very much my grandma's house. That was like just, it was made there and it just looked like that until it still probably does. She's passed and I haven't been in the house in probably, oh boy, 7 years. But, no longer than that, probably like 12 years. But, so it was cool to see, what was it, Wind River?
Yeah, Wind River.
Wind River, seeing how that was still kind of just a time capsule of how all that used to be. I will say I don't know if we needed a douchey ex-husband, or douchey. I don't get cringed out all that easily. That proposal at the house.
Especially because that they mentioned in a line that like Halloween's in 2 days. My birthday is October 29th. Which is the same date as Winona Ryder's birthday. So.
Oh really? Oh, that's nice. That's awesome.
So yeah, I kind of felt that like that cringe of, oh geez.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I just sitting there. Oh, someone just messaged incorrect me. I messaged about that. I was wrong. The actual town I'm from, Medford, Wisconsin, was the one I was talking about that was in it. I was wrong about that. Yeah, I was like, this guy's not making it out of this film. Something's going to happen to him. And again, when I talk about how the film's having a plot is iffy, this one had a real stretch thin plot. Like, I didn't know Danny DeVito was in this film.
Yeah, he's there, basically just to be killed off.
Was it? Has he worked with Burton? Oh wow, I'm a dumbass. Yes, he's worked with Burton, you moron. He was Penguin. I honestly thought we were going to see more of the wife. I didn't expect to have as many subplots as it did. I kind of think that could have been the only part that was improved. It did feel like at times like there was a lot going on.
There was. And
you kind of just had to have, I think that almost the wife thing, I don't want to say this because that's him trying to get away from her permanently, so I get that. In the scene where he speaks in Spanish for the whole backdrop for no reason. What are we doing? And then the freaking the song. I love how multiple times they have Beetlejuice singing. It's clearly never Beetlejuice. So that was a good touch. But I just feel not to say this is a bad film. For me, this is like an 8 out of 10. It could have been a 9 or a 9.5 if the subplots were cleaned up a little bit. Because they all just kind of swoop right at the very end to get it to where, okay, everything's fine again. They all conclude super fast.
That is kind of my one criticism too. That like, I mean, on the one hand, I get it. Tim Burton has, I don't know if he necessarily wanted to do a sequel, like to do this sequel for as long as the gap between the two, but I can just tell he's having more fun doing this than he has in the last like 10 or so years.
Oh yeah, this is one of those ones where I felt like everyone on set was having a good time. Like the point to where that all those Shrunken Head guys got a credit. Tim, John, Mike, Bob. Okay. And I get it. I wasn't expecting the F-bomb drop, but that was great. I don't remember. He does one of my favorite things where you quote a random historical figure and then say something that never the historical figure would say. I can't remember who he said. But he's like, to quote, you're fucked, pal. And pulls the lever out on him and he drops into hell. Like they're just like, yep, she got her soul back because he went to hell. What is another thing? Nope, moving right along. It's just... Yeah. And the weird... I sat here and thought, before I saw the movie, okay, the fact that you named it Beetlejuice inadvertently hangs that question. That when the character's based off saying his name 3 times, that everyone's going to be like, are we getting a Beetlejuice? And I'm sitting there at the end of that film. Everything gets resolved. It's all fine. It was great. And I'm getting into the ending. She gets married within a day? And I would assume it's a day, unless they just lived there for a year and then she whatever. Then they go to have the kid, and I'm like, this is a very weird setting to have this child. And then that happens that you could really only have happen in that sort of room, and I was losing my mind.
It is a very bizarre way to end the movie until it's later revealed that it's all just a dream.
And then they pull it twice on you to where she wakes up and she's like, I just had the weirdest dream. And then it flips back to like, are we getting another one? Did they film 2 in a row? Oh. I could tell that Michael Keaton had a good time. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if they like, and I'm pretty sure Winona Ryder said this in an interview, that they pretty much had to wait for Jenna Ortega to be born to do the sequel to this film.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, full disclosure, I still haven't seen Wednesday yet. I'm going to do that once season 2 gets rolling, but it's pretty clear that Ortega has become Tim Burton's new muse.
Yeah, and that was kind of the perfect person to be Winona Ryder's daughter. So, yeah, I can see that was pretty perfect. They did have a ton of fun making this film. I did enjoy it. Is it as good as the first one? No. Did it have to be? No. Did I still enjoy going to go see it? Yes, absolutely I did, because I don't know if I've said it on here or on anything. Beetlejuice is my favorite role that Michael Keaton's ever done. It's one of those where I forget that it's Michael Keaton while I'm watching it.
Yeah, because he just becomes the character.
Yeah, you don't get, like, he never gets to do, and he's never, I can't think of another film that's even remotely close to this in a role that he's played. Like, the closest thing to this he's done is Batman, and that's miles away from this. What's even close that he's done for a role like this?
I can't think of anything else. This role was just kind of perfect for him.
It was, and it's just like everyone goes, "Oh, well, he can't." When did this one originally come out? It was 88, right?
Yeah.
Oh, also, where did I write that down? Because I was watching the movie and I forgot that they said what they were listing that house for in 1988. $260,000 in 1988.
And when you adjust that for inflation,
Let's see, $260,000 in 1988. Adjusted for inflation. 2004. Calculate. It is worth $691,296 now.
wow.
Yeah. Basically $700,000 house. In the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Also, to this day, even when I was a kid, I'm like, that is the most messed up. They say it in the house. It's built like an anthill. Like, dude, it's so weird. And people, when this movie came out, the original Batman came out in 89, right?
Yep.
People seeing this in 88 were still going, the Mr. Mom guy's gonna play Batman. He can't do something other than rom-coms.
Yeah, they definitely ate their words pretty soon after that.
I'm like, what did you, this was like, what, did you watch this film at all? Never understand how people are just like, well, that guy couldn't do roles. It's not like he's an actor or nothing. Yeah, I'm happy they got to do this. Keaton was probably at some point had that itch dying away at him to want to play a role so bad. As much as this, like, I'm trying to think now of if this is possibly a record for returning to a role. It's gotta be.
Yeah.
88 to 2024?
I think the only thing that comes close is Harrison Ford coming back to Han Solo from Return of the Jedi was 83, and then Force Awakens was 2015.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that would be the closest one. You still got it with this, but yeah, that'd be the closest. It's not far off. That's nuts. And yeah, it didn't look like he skipped a beat whatsoever. He still had the voice and everything down. I forget just some of the greatest, just in the first movie, he kicks that tree over. Nice fucking model! Kirk, Kirk. And like, this is making me, and I know that I think that you did it recently, I really badly need to rewatch. I remember absolutely loving that animated series when I was younger.
Oh, yeah. So I recorded another podcast last night with Hayden talking about the entirety of the Beetlejuice franchise. We talked about the first movie, the animated series, and especially the musical. Mm-hmm. It's because of this movie that I had to go back into that rabbit hole, and I'm glad I did, because That show was like a huge part of my childhood.
That's still a fever dream to me that thing was a thing.
Right? Because it's a show that Tim Burton helped develop, but because it was for a younger audience, they had to change like a lot of things.
Yeah. Just even thinking back today, they never try that with anything. And they went bonkers with it back in the day, because with Jim Carrey, he had Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and
The Mask.
The Mask all come out in a year. And then if I'm not mistaken, all three of them got animated shows.
Yep.
That's insane. They were not afraid to just throw any movie into an animated series back in the day.
Yeah, that was just the thing to do.
Yeah, I have that Ace Ventura animated series somewhere, because back in the day I found a value pack that had all the DVDs and then the animated series like on the back end of it. Oh, I need to somehow find that freaking Mask animated series again.
Same.
Because not only is that cartoon far off, but the movie was far off from just how unbelievably messed up that actual comic book run is. But yeah, this was good. I hope this does well. I honestly don't think they're ever going to try and make another one, because Keaton's 70, if not pushing.
Yeah.
So, like, unless they started filming next year, he's probably not going to take any over-eccentric roles.
I'm just glad that he got this one out of his system. And I'm happy for Tim Burton, too, because, again, if we're not including Wednesday, dude could have really used a win.
He could. He's another one. How old is Burton?
He's only 66.
Really? Wow. I just thought from looks, I guess, that he looked older, but... Huh. Yeah. But, no, this is a good time. It was nice to see, like, not that I hate it, but it was nice to see Winona Ryder in something other than Stranger Things. So that was a big plus. I wish that she would be in more things, but I think that she's selective on purpose with certain stuff. Like, I was hearing I watched her in an interview the other day that she did with Jenna Ortega, that she was considered not pretty enough originally to be in Heathers. Like,
Do you have eyes?
have you seen this woman? What? Of like, oh, I'm sorry, they're not naturally beautiful, built like a Coke bottle. Winona Ryder's freaking gorgeous. And anyone that thinks otherwise can shut up. Even now, she is naturally gorgeous. And even as a stressed out, dealing with all of the worst things in the world mom in Stranger Things, she's still gorgeous.
Yep.
This was fun to get to do. I will be watching this again with my mom next Thursday. She was pretty excited. She doesn't go to the movies all that often, but Beetlejuice was one of her favorites. I'll never forget how when I was at my babysitter's, that they were like, yeah, you could bring in films for the kids to watch, and I was in elementary school. I brought my mom's copy of Beetlejuice.
Nice.
Oh, it went over great with the kids, not so much with my babysitter. It's also such a time capsule in that original one. I don't recognize Alec Baldwin in that original movie.
He's very, very very unrecognizable, almost on purpose. Like he looks a lot more, how should I put it, plain and boring.
He looks more plain and boring. Like, I'm not saying that he's big, but like, he's like filled out a little bit more. He was skinny as a rod in that film. And he's perfectly fine at a good healthy weight now, but it's just that you could see that like that was the younger freaking what I want to say, what's the term that I'm thinking of? That helps you break what's the word? Metabolism. Metabolism was in still full jaunt. And like again, Gina Davis you could barely freaking recognize in that film. But yeah, that's and I like that they moved on from the original family in this, but they still had the house.
Yeah.
Because if they tried to add them into this on top of everything else that was going on, it actively would have actually hurt the film.
There was no need for them in this story because, well, one, like, they're dead, so
Yeah.
there's like there wouldn't be really any point of including them in the story. They've already moved on, and I like how they kind of they
Say
had
that.
a line that said like, oh, we found a loophole for them to like to move on peacefully.
I love how Jenna Ortega even calls it oh, of course they did.
There's also a great jab at Disney in a line where I think it's like a real estate agent who made a comment about Halloween costumes.
Yeah, the closest thing they got was dressed as Astrid dressing up as Cinderella's dead mom. Like, nice. That is what they would do. But yeah, overall, I had a good time with this. I was laughing, giggling, having a good time. Didn't think I'd ever see Deo playing over a funeral.
Oh, the way the way they use that, like in the film is, it's just so perfect.
Yeah.
One last thing we should mention: Captain O'Hara just gets funnier with age.
Yeah, she. This, when I talk about how this film was not afraid to just be stupid, how she dies is so fucking dumb.
She died of embarrassment.
She died of embarrassment. I died of a scam. Those snakes were poisonous. How Astrid calls her out. No, I'm pretty sure that those like terrorize them in the underworld. That's not exactly at all what he said. Where's my husband? My husband is down here somewhere. No, the Soul Train was actually like the Soul Train.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. I wasn't expecting to see as much of the underworld as we did.
I'm
Like the
glad
random cleaners.
I'm glad we got to see more because clearly they had fun building that set.
Oh, absolutely. And also, again, loving how they call stuff out. How they're like, where are we? Oh, we're on one of Saturn's moons. Like the original sandpit, because then I'm like, why, Nona, you would know. Oh, no, Lydia was never there, or the other couple was. And there's then she just point blank calls, the afterworld is so random. You're like, nope, there's no rules to it. You just go in a door and you come out of the door. Why do they always end up on one of Saturn's moons? And I don't remember them saying it was Saturn. I don't know if I misheard them correctly, but I swear they said it was Venus in the original film.
I think so.
But, and one thing I appreciate also with the sandworm, they kind of purposely made the CGI look bad.
They did a good job of mixing practical and digital effects.
Yeah. This is again watching watching Beetlejuice for the first time in at least 5 years. All the original effects in that first Beetlejuice film look stellar, except for when they shrink Keaton's head. Oh boy, does it not look bad on a modern. That does not look good on a modern TV. It looks like they're literally just taking the effect from an image and just pulling in the corners as his head shrinks with a blue screen rested on his shoulders.
It's such a bad effect. That's why I love it.
It's just like, yep, that was the 80s. It was almost in the 90s. We forget that they were right around the corner from Jurassic Park. But, yeah, I don't know how many more Legacy sequels we have in the tank that would actually work.
It's funny. They're talking about doing a sequel to St. Elmo's Fire, and good luck with that one.
Who is... like, I hear Top Gun. Sequel trying to do whatever. I'm like, you could do a lot with that because of just stuff, whatever. Beetlejuice, I'm like, I don't know what they could do with it, but it's Michael Keaton and Tim Burton, and you can make something fun. Someone says, yeah, we want to do a sequel to St. Elmo's Fire. What do you plan to get out of this? And what kind of recognition name power are you going to live off of that? Like, Beetlejuice is enough to where, you know, us, our generation, showed that to our kids.
Yep.
I'm not showing my nieces and nephews St. Elmo's Fire.
Nope.
What? But again, hey, get out the old nostalgia shovel. We can find something to mine. It might not be a good idea, but it's something. And they're going to try something. Someone's going to say that, hey, Beetlejuice made a moderate amount of money. And I don't know if it's going to do good. I really hope it does. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more than okay with Legacy sequels as long as they actually have like a good point behind them. Like, we did a review of Hocus Pocus on this channel. I still haven't seen the sequel because I've been told by people that even I, who have watched multiple Anchor Bay creature films, that I could not find enjoyment out of that sequel.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the sequel either.
And you and me both did that review for the purpose of doing a review of that movie afterwards.
Yep.
And that was one where, you know, it could have worked. I could have been okay with that. But yeah, then it's all on execution. That is all that matters. It's always in the writing. But yeah, that's all I got. I don't know if you got any more closing thoughts on it, but
my closing thoughts are go see it because it's a lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure this movie is going to make a lot of money, especially if it keeps playing through Halloween.
yeah,
It's a pretty perfect Halloween movie.
It is. I'm kind of shocked it didn't get released in October.
The only reason why I think they pushed.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a Friday the 13th this year in October?
Nope, that's actually next weekend, or this weekend.
That's this weekend? Oh, I had that mixed up. There was another one. A week later? But because Deadpool's winding down now, it's still making money. Go, baby, go. That thing has outgrossed Iron Man 3. I'm so proud of that damn movie. And like Romulus is out of my theater already. So like this is here to sit there. If this squeaks into Halloween, you're gonna see reruns of Beetlejuice on TV, and then people are gonna be like, "Yeah, we should go watch that sequel." What's coming out in October?
Joker, Folia Do.
Oh, yeah, that's getting rave reviews. Oh god, you know we have to review that.
I know.
That was our first review we did for on this channel.
Yeah, we have to.
Oh, the things I'm hearing about that film. Ah! Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's get out of here, Mike. Where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me on various social media sites at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and that place at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, mainly on Twitch and YouTube. By the time this gets out, which might be like 3 days from now because we have a Fresh Takes, the next podcast, and this will probably be up on Wednesday. I will be back to streaming. I need to finish out Alan Wake before I go to my next con, so that will be getting done. All right, everyone. Until next time, we will see you all later. Bye!